If you're like me and you love local history, well, then we've got the solution for you. Joining us each and every Tuesday morning is Harold Peacock from History Out There, and he does the research into our local stories, our local history, and where we've come from, and they are always riveting stories. Let me tell you, if you want to read any of them that you might have missed, all you got to do is jump onto his website, historyouthere.com, and you'll find all of the stories pertaining to the Darling Downs right there, and you can have a good old read. But he joins us today all the way from Perth. Good morning, mate.
Yes, good morning, Damo. I'm up early, but this is an exciting history story.
Yeah.
And where we come from, well, a lot of us come from convicts who escaped, not from England, but actually here in Toowoomba.
That's right, because over the past couple of weeks you've been telling us about all these escaping convicts from the Toowoomba area, but now you've actually tracked down info about a man who in the 1860s made it his mission to help them get away.
Yeah, he seemed to be the common denominator in a number of dubious police transactions that resulted in, a bit of freedom. It wasn't necessarily warranted.
No, that's right. Well, how does this story pan out, mate?
Yeah, look, his name was Peter Gentle, and he was a convict, like you say, with a difference and on a quest to keep other ticket of leave holders out of jail. Now, he risked prison himself, of course, by keeping others out, and he had a knack of getting away with it. Now, Gentle was around at just 20 years of age when he was one of the 297 convicts who were transported aboard the ship Bangalore from Spithead in the south of England and arrived in Moreton Bay on the 30th of April, 1850. So that's when his Australian story begins.
Right.
Now, despite a 7-year sentence, Gentle, like all the other convicts on board, were immediately given a ticket of leave. Now, Queensland was in dire need of labour. I guess there's not much difference now. We need workers. And these exiles were seen as a solution and assigned to mostly graziers to develop the colony. Now, Gentle went straight to work for the Gore brothers on the Darling Downs.
Right.
Now, they were headed up by St George Richard Gore of Yandilla. Now, he was the offspring of an aristocratic Irish family. Now, Gore became a member of both the Queensland Legislative Assembly and the old Legislative Council in Parliament, holding the colonial ministry of Postmaster General. He was the boss. But this manager of the Yandilla property was later murdered by a disaffected employee who actually became the first prison, or the person executed in Toowoomba jail. He was the first one.
Right.
But in 1848, Gore had taken up the new Badumba run, and that's where Gentle was sent to work.
Right.
Now, Gentle served his term working for the Gore brothers and then gained a sort of respectability and a level of financial success from doing the mail deliveries out of Toowoomba and Drayton. In effect, he was the postman.
Right.
But there were a number of complaints of irregular deliveries and letters being pilfered from the mailbags.
Oh, no.
Maybe that's how some income got topped up. But anyway, in 1856, Gentle came across a stolen horse that was in the possession of a fellow ticket of leave man. Now, Gentle took possession of the horse and refused to name the man, thereby helping him evade a certain prison term. Gentle himself avoided a charge of horse stealing by then implicating a Constable Egan from Gayndah. Now, I could say that Constable Egan did not progress to the Queensland Police Force when it was formed a few years later.
Right.
And maybe his association with our Peter Gentle had something to do with it.
It could have done.
Now, in 1861, Gentle came to the rescue of a fellow exile from the same ship that brought him over, the Bangalore.
Right.
Now, that convict's name was Dick Austin, who had already set the record for the biggest robbery in Ipswich, and this time he was held in the Toowoomba lockup and facing charges of stealing a bullock's yoke.
Oh.
Now, Gentle visited Austin in the lockup and tried to bribe the constable in charge with the offer of an enormous amount of £50, which was actually declined. So when that attempt failed, Gentle successfully bribed at least one of the policemen, Constable George Burton, signed to escort Austin to Brisbane Jail. And so Austin was able to escape, or he was allowed to escape, while crossing Gatton Creek. Now, Gentle himself got off the lockup bribery charge because his arrest was not done properly. It was a technicality. which may have been made by another sympathetic member of the Toowoomba Constabulary. Like I said, Gentle had a knack of not being arrested properly, not having charges laid properly, or not being arrested at all.
Right.
Now, in 1862, Gentle was charged with highway robbery, which was downgraded to receiving stolen goods, which in turn was downgraded to getting off entirely.
Wow.
Although those charged with highway robbery at the start, they got convicted. So you see, he knew how the system worked.
He knew, yep.
That's right. And Gentle, he'd been an innkeeper in Scotland, and he in fact became one of the first innkeepers, hotel keepers, here in Toowoomba. And so it was on Wednesday, the 18th of January, 1865, he'd been here less than 15 years, that Peter Gentle breathed his last at his residence, the Horse and Jockey Hotel on Ruthven Street.
Wow.
And he was buried at the Toowoomba and Drayton Cemetery. You can go visit the site today. But ironically, 20 years later, Gentle's widow, Eliza, she applied to regain the licence of the Horse and Jockey Hotel. But her application was denied because her second husband, who was not a convict, but he was an undischarged bankrupt.
Right.
And maybe as a sign of enduring love, Eliza, when she passed away, she was not buried next to her or with her second husband, but directly beside her first husband, Peter Gentle.
Wow.
Which is surprising. Anyway, look, although Gentle was just 34 years of age when he died, he had 4 children, and there are plenty of descendants living on the Darling Downs today, and also plenty of the convicts that he helped.
I could
So
imagine.
anyone listening, thank you, Peter Gentle, for populating the Darling Downs.
Exactly. Now, mate, we can find out all about this story by reading back through it when you put it up on your website.
That's right. I always update the story on Friday mornings. And you can find history out there on the socials, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and like you say, the website, historyouthere.com.
All right, mate, we're going to let you get back under the doona and get a few Zs before you start your day.
Oh, look, I'm dreaming of next week's story that I'm going to tell you.
Looking forward to it, mate. You have the safe travel, and we'll look forward to catching up next week.